I wanted to tell you something that nobody in the financial world is willing to say out loud. The most dangerous place you can be in this economy is not at the bottom. The person at the bottom knows they are in trouble. They are alert. They are hungry. They are looking for a way out. The most dangerous place you can be is in the middle. Comfortable. Stable. Slowly dying without ever knowing it. Most people spend their entire lives trying to reach the middle class. They celebrate when they arrive. They breathe a sigh of relief. They buy a slightly bigger house. They get a slightly newer car. They tell their parents they made it. And then something terrible happens. Nothing. Life just continues. The job continues. The mortgage continues. The quiet, invisible erosion of their financial future continues. And 30 years later, they arrive at retirement with almost nothing. Not because they were lazy. Not because they were stupid. But because they were comfortable. I call this the comfort trap. And it is the most perfectly engineered financial prison ever constructed. Unlike poverty, which is visible and urgent, the comfort trap is invisible and slow. It does not alarm you. It sedates you. It wraps itself around you like a warm blanket and whispers that you are doing fine. And while you sleep inside that warmth, it quietly steals every year, every dollar, and every opportunity you will ever have. In this video, we are going to take apart this trap mechanism by mechanism. We are going to look at the 5 invisible chains of the comfort trap. We are going to look at why your brain is biologically addicted to stability. We are going to look at the mathematics of median income and why it is a terminal diagnosis for wealth. And then I am going to show you the only way out. Not the easy way. There is no easy way. But the honest way. The way that actually works. If you are watching this from a comfortable position right now, I want you to pay very close attention. Because what you are about to hear might be the most important financial lesson you have never been taught. Let us start with physics. Not economics. Physics. Because what I am about to describe to you is not a financial problem. It is a gravitational problem. And once you understand the gravity, you understand why willpower alone cannot save you. There is a concept in physics called terminal velocity. When an object falls through the atmosphere, air resistance increases until it perfectly balances the gravitational pull. At that point, the object stops accelerating. It just falls at a constant speed. Not climbing. Not crashing. Just falling. Forever. At a steady, predictable rate that looks almost peaceful from the outside. That is the middle class. Terminal velocity. You are falling. But the fall is so smooth, so consistent, so well cushioned by the infrastructure around you that you have convinced yourself you are flying. You have a salary. You have a house. You have a retirement account that the HR department set up for you. You have health insurance. From the outside, and more dangerously from the inside, everything looks like altitude. It looks like you are somewhere high up, but you are not climbing. You are not building escape velocity. You are just falling at a very comfortable speed toward a retirement with not enough money in a life that was never fully lived. The wealthy understand something the middle class does not. There are only 2 financial directions in this economy. You are either compounding or you are eroding. You are eroding. You are either building assets that grow faster than your expenses, or your expenses are growing faster than your assets. There is no neutral. There is no stable. Inflation alone guarantees that standing still means falling behind. And the middle class, by its very design, is engineered to stand still. Let me show you the mathematics of median income. The median household income in the United States is approximately $75,000 per year. That sounds reasonable. After federal and state taxes, you take home perhaps $55,000. Your mortgage or rent, your car payments, your insurance, your grocery, utilities, activities, your subscriptions, your small treats that you have absolutely earned because you work very hard. Those costs consume somewhere between $50,000 and $55,000 of that take-home pay, which leaves you with almost nothing to build with. Maybe a few $1,000s a year that goes into a 401k that your employer matched, which you will not touch for 30 years, and which the financial industry will slowly erode with fees you barely notice. The painful truth is this. At median income, You are running a race where the finish line is moving away from you faster than you can run. You are not building wealth. You are maintaining the appearance of wealth. And the system around you, the marketing machine, the debt industry, the status economy, is designed with one specific purpose: to ensure that every dollar of surplus income you generate gets converted immediately into a liability that requires you to keep working to service it. This is not an accident. This is architecture. And understanding that architecture is the first step to escaping it. The comfort trap does not hold you with one chain. It holds you with 5. And each chain is made from something that, on its own, looks like a reasonable, responsible life decision. That is what makes it so dangerous. Let us look at each one. The first chain is the mortgage. In America, homeownership is treated as the highest virtue a middle-class person can achieve. You sign the papers. The whole family celebrates. Your parents beam with pride. But let me tell you what you have actually just done. You have borrowed 30 years of your future labor to purchase an asset that you will spend those 30 years maintaining, insuring, taxing, and repairing. The bank has your full economic productivity for 3 decades before you own a single square inch of that house outright. And the moment you need to move for a better opportunity, you discover that the house you thought was an asset is actually an anchor. It has made you immobile at exactly the age when mobility is most valuable. I want to be careful here. A home can be an asset in the right circumstances, but a home is not automatically an asset simply because a real estate agent told you it was. An asset puts money in your pocket. A house that you live in takes money out of your pocket every single month in the form of interest, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. The equity may grow, but you cannot eat the equity. You cannot invest the equity. The equity is locked inside the walls of a building that requires constant feeding. The second chain is the car. The average American family spends approximately $10,000 per year on vehicle expenses. Over a 40-year working life, that is $400,000 that was burned. Not invested, not compounding, burned, in exchange for a machine that depreciates the moment you drive it off the lot and becomes more expensive with every passing year in insurance, fuel, and repairs. I have driven the same modest car for years that I could have replaced 1,000 times over, not because I am cheap, because I understand what $10,000 per year compounding at 10% for 40 years actually looks like. It looks like $4.9 million. Every car upgrade you make is a choice to burn a portion of your financial future, to impress people who will forget they saw it within a week. The third chain is lifestyle inflation. This is the most insidious chain of all because it feels like a reward. You get a raise, you get a promotion, you have earned something, so you upgrade, better apartment, better dinners, better clothes, better vacations. And your expenses rise to meet your income so precisely, so automatically, so naturally, that within 6 months your financial stress is identical to what it was before the raise. You made progress on the income side. You erased it entirely on the expense side. You are exactly where you were. But now you need the higher income to maintain the lifestyle you have adjusted to. You have made yourself dependent on money you did not used to need. This is called the hedonic treadmill, and the middle class lives on it permanently, walking faster and faster just to stay in the same place. The fourth chain is debt normalization. In the middle class, debt is not a crisis. Debt is a lifestyle. The car loan is normal. The credit card balance is normal. The student loans are normal. The home equity line of credit is normal. What is not normal? What is not normal? What is in fact treated with suspicion by everyone around you is the person who refuses to borrow, who drives an older car they own outright, who lives below their means, who has no debt. What's strange? They are called cheap. They are called cheap. They are called strange. They are called strange. They are not relatable, because the social contract of the middle class requires that you participate in the debt economy. And every time you participate, you hand a portion of your future income to a financial institution in the form of interest. The poor pay compound interest. The rich earn compound interest. The rich earn compound interest. The middle class pays compound interest while also earning a small amount of compound interest and believing they have found the balance. The fifth chain is the retirement illusion. Most middle-class workers have been told a story about retirement that goes like this. You contribute to your 401k for 40 years. The market grows. You retire at 65 with a comfortable nest egg. This story is not entirely false, but it contains a catastrophic omission. It does not tell you that the financial industry will extract between 1 and 2% of your assets every single year in management fees, which over 40 years can consume 30 to 40% of your total returns. It does not tell you that most people cannot emotionally withstand a 40% portfolio drawdown and sell at the bottom of the next recession. It does not tell you that your retirement at 65 assumes good health, no family emergencies, no job losses, and a perfectly linear market for 4 consecutive decades. And most importantly, it does not tell you that relying on a single retirement vehicle managed by someone else means you have built no financial skill, no financial literacy, and no backup system for when any part of that story goes wrong. Now that we have named the chains, we need to understand why you willingly put them on. Because nobody forced you. You chose the mortgage. You chose the car. You chose the lifestyle. Why does the human brain consistently choose the comfort trap over financial freedom? The answer is deep in your evolutionary biology. For 200,000 years, human beings lived in small tribal groups where survival depended on conformity. If your tribe moved north for the winter, you moved north. If your tribe built huts a certain way, you built huts a certain way, you built huts that way. Deviation from the group was not just socially uncomfortable. It was potentially lethal. Your brain evolved to experience conformity as safety and deviation as danger. This wiring has not changed. But the environment it operates in has changed completely. In the modern economy, the conformist path, the safe-feeling, tribe-approved path, is the mortgage, the car payment, the 401k, the stable job, the retirement. At 65, your brain does not register this path as a financial trap. It registers it as safety. It feels correct. It feels like what you were supposed to do. And every time you deviate, every time you think about refusing the mortgage or driving a cheaper car or starting a business, your brain fires warning signals, danger, social exclusion, disapproval, uncertainty. Your primitive brain screams at you to get back in line. Then there is the dopamine architecture of the middle class. Dopamine is not just a pleasure chemical. It is a learning chemical. It marks events that your brain wants you to repeat. And the middle class consumption cycle is built on a dopamine schedule that keeps you permanently engaged and permanently in deficit. You save for something. The anticipation builds dopamine. You buy it. A spike. Brief satisfaction. Then the baseline drops back below where it was before. The thing you bought becomes invisible within 3 weeks. Your brain needs the next purchase to recreate the spike. This is not weakness. This is engineering. The advertising industry employs the world's most sophisticated psychologists precisely to exploit this mechanism. They want you in this cycle. Every exit from the cycle is a dollar that did not go to them. Charlie Munger once said, "I have nothing to add, but on this subject I will make an exception." Charlie understood the psychology of self-deception better than almost anyone. He called it Lollapalooza effects. The combination of multiple psychological biases firing simultaneously to produce behavior that individually would not seem rational. The middle class is a perfect Lollapalooza machine. Social proof makes you buy what everyone else buys. Authority bias makes you trust financial advisors who profit from your confusion. Loss aversion makes you terrified of the volatility that comes with real wealth building. Commitment bias makes you defend decisions you have already made even when the evidence says they were wrong. All of these biases fire together and they keep you walking calmly into the comfort trap. Believing you are making rational decisions, believing you are. I'm making rational decisions, believing you are. doing the right thing. I have spent the last 20 minutes describing a prison. Now I am going to tell you how to escape it. Not all at once. Not overnight. The comfort trap is years in the making, and it takes years to reverse. But there is a sequence. There is an order of operations. And if you follow it honestly, you will look back in a decade and not recognize the person you used to be. The first escape is financial literacy. Not financial products, not financial advisors. Financial literacy. You must understand how money actually works before you make any other decision. You must understand the difference between an asset and a liability. Robert Kiyosaki got this right when he said an asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. By this definition, most of what the middle class owns is liabilities masquerading as assets. Your house, your car, your boat, your jewelry. These are things that cost you money every month. A share of a business. A piece of rental real estate that pays more than it costs. A royalty stream. These are assets. The wealthy own assets. The middle class owns liabilities and calls them wealth. The first act of escape is being brutally honest about which is which in your own financial life. The second escape is the gap. Not the clothing store. The gap between your income and your expenses. Every dollar of that gap is a soldier you can send to work for you. The wealthy obsess over this gap. They protect it fanatically. They do not upgrade their lifestyle when their income rises. They expand the gap. They take that gap and they convert it into assets. For most middle-class families, the gap is nearly zero because the lifestyle has been allowed to consume everything that comes in. Creating a real gap requires what I sometimes call monk mode, a period of deliberate temporary austerity, not permanent poverty, but a conscious reduction in consumption for long enough to accumulate the seed capital that starts the compounding engine. It is painful. Your friends will not understand. Your neighbors will think you are struggling. That is exactly correct. You should let them think that. Remember, the wealthy appear ordinary. It is the middle class that is desperate to appear wealthy. The third escape is the skill stack. The comfort trap is largely a consequence of selling your time as a commodity. A commodity has no pricing power. If you can be replaced by the next person willing to take the job, your income is permanently capped by what the market will pay for that role. Escape from this is not working harder at the same skill. It is building an uncommon combination of skills that cannot be commoditized. You do not need to be the best in the world at any single thing. You need to be very good at 2 or 3 things that almost no one else combines. The accountant who can also sell. The engineer who can also communicate. The writer who also understands data. These combinations are rare, and rare things command premiums. When you stack skills deliberately, you stop being a commodity and start being a unique solution to a specific problem. The market pays handsomely for that. The fourth escape is passive income architecture. The middle class earns active income and spends active income, and spends active income. The wealthy build systems that generate passive income, income that arrives whether they work or not. Dividends from equity, rental income from property, royalties from creative work, revenue from businesses that do not require their physical presence. The shift from active to passive income is not instant. It is a gradual process that requires every dollar of your gap to be converted into an income-producing asset. But the mathematics of this shift are extraordinary. When your passive income exceeds your expenses, you are free. Not rich necessarily, free. And freedom is the only version of wealth that cannot be taken from you by a single phone call from your employer. The fifth escape is the time horizon. This is the most underappreciated advantage available to anyone reading these words. Time is the variable that separates the merely comfortable from the genuinely wealthy. Not intelligence, not connections, not luck. Time. A 25-year-old who invests $500 per month into an index fund earning 10% annually will have approximately $3.2 million at age 65. A 35-year-old doing the same thing will have $1.1 million. The 10-year difference in starting age costs more than $2 million in outcome from the exact same monthly contribution. The comfort trap steals time. Every year you spend fully consuming your income. Every year you spend maintaining the lifestyle. Every year you spend telling yourself that you will start investing seriously next year. is a year of compounding that you can never recover. Time is not just money. Time is the multiplier on all money. And it is the only resource in your life that is genuinely, irreversibly finite. I want to be honest with you about something. I do not tell people these things because I enjoy delivering uncomfortable news. I tell them because I have seen what happens to people who live by the comfortable story until it is too late to change the ending. I have known men who were brilliant, men who worked harder than anyone I have ever met, men who genuinely believed they were doing everything right. And I have sat with those men in their 70s and watched them do the math. Watch them calculate what they have. Watch them calculate what they have. Watch them realize that the house, after selling costs and remaining mortgage, leaves them with perhaps $200,000. That the 401k, after 40 years of contributions and modest returns, has accumulated to $380,000. That the Social Security payment barely covers the fixed expenses, and that there is no passive income system, no dividend stream, no royalty, no business, just a finite pool of capital that needs to last for a potentially 20-year retirement. And the math does not work. It does not work, and there is no more time to fix it. That is the comfort trap at its full completion. Not bankruptcy, not destitution, just a quiet insufficiency. Just a quiet insufficiency. A gap between what was expected and what exists. A lifetime of responsible decisions that added up to not enough. People who escape this outcome are not geniuses. They are not lucky. They are not born into wealth. They are the people who ask the uncomfortable question early enough to act on the answer. The question is simple. If I continue on this exact path, with these exact paths, with these exact habits, making these exact decisions, what does my financial life look like at 65? Not what do I hope it looks like? What does the math say it looks like? You do the calculation honestly if you use real numbers and real projections, and if the answer is that the math does not work, then you have just done the most valuable thing you will do this year. You have identified the problem, while there is still time to solve it. The door out of the comfort trap is always open, but it requires you to walk through it voluntarily before the trap closes, before the mortgage is too large, before the lifestyle is too established, before the years are too few. It requires you to be willing to look strange for a while, to drive the older car, to live in the smaller house, to say no to things your peers are saying yes to tolerate the discomfort of uncertainty in exchange for the possibility of actual freedom. Let me close with a thought about what freedom actually means. People think freedom is a yacht. People think freedom is a yacht. People think freedom is a private jet. It is not. Freedom is the Tuesday morning when there is nowhere you have to be. Freedom is the meeting you decline because the person asking for your time does not use it well. Freedom is the choice to work on something you believe in rather than something that pays the bills. Freedom is what you can buy with enough assets, enough passive income, and enough time horizon if you start early enough and choose honestly enough. The middle class is not a safe destination. It is a checkpoint on the road to either genuine wealth or permanent insufficiency. It is not where you stop. It is where you decide which direction you are actually going. Most people stop there because it is comfortable enough to stop. And comfortable enough is the most expensive cost there is, because it is paid in the currency of years. Do not let your life be consumed by the machinery of someone else's financial plan. Build your own. Start with the gap. Feed it to assets. Protect it from lifestyle inflation. Give it time. And understand, clearly and without sentimentality, that comfort is not security. Real security is not something that is given to you by an employer or a government or a mortgage document. Real security is built, slowly and deliberately, from the gap between what you earn and what you allow yourself to spend, compounding quietly in the background, year after year, until one Tuesday morning you wake up and realize you are free. That is the only kind of wealth that matters. And it starts not with a large income, not with a perfect market, not with a lucky break, but with a decision. A clear-eyed, honest, slightly uncomfortable decision to stop being comfortable and start being free. That is all. Thanks for watching.